This is a people's campaign, because what we need to be doing is a larger project than just electing a new governor. It's a project for building a government that the people can believe in again, because the people themselves are behind it, and it's carrying forward a people's agenda. That's what this campaign is about. For the last 30 years, the corporate media in this country, the five big corporations that now control about 80% of what we read and hear as the news these days, have been drilling into our head, and especially the right wing, but not just the right wing, this idea that government can't do anything right. Government is bad. Everything needs to be privatized. We need to keep government out of everything. And we see this recently with the healthcare debate, right? For the last 30 or more years, we've been subjected to this propaganda. And have you ever stopped to wonder, why it is that the people so intent upon telling us that government can't do anything right and government shouldn't be involved in anything are so intent on running government and controlling it? And there's a reason for it. The same powerful corporate and banking and insurance and pharmaceutical interests that have a stranglehold on the Democratic and Republican parties because they buy and sell their politicians are the ones promoting this idea because it serves their interests. And so what we've ended up, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They get in government, they deliberately sabotage many government programs, then they turn around and say, see, it doesn't work, we need to privatize. It's a scam. We've got to stop falling for the scam. There is a role for the public sector in American life. It is a fundamental truth, and one of the things that I'm going to be fighting for in this CAM is to recognize that you need a healthy public sector guided by the right policies, controlled by the people, in order for the private sector to flourish and to create the kind of economic system and economic health that we need, and to carry forward the other policies we need, and healthcare, education, the basics. And that's what this campaign is about. The reason why we have the big budget mess that we have, the structural deficit, is because we're taxing the wrong people. In Illinois today, if you combine all the taxes, the income tax, the sales taxes, the property tax, the local taxes, put it all together, we are taxing the bottom 20% of Illinoisans at more than double the rate of the top 1%. That is fun, and then we wonder why we're going broke. It is no mystery, friends. And we have good public policy solutions in things like last year's House Bill 750 to raise the income tax, but couple it with an earned income credit so that lower and middle income class people don't end up paying higher taxes. And so we have adequate funding for our schools. Fund them at the foundation level so we don't have the most unequal school system in the United States, which is what we have right now. And this is not about soaking the rich or anything like that. This is about establishing parity, establishing equity, making people pay their fair share. You know, the idea of a progressive income tax, some people think it's radical now. This was advocated by Adam Smith, the founding theoretician of modern capitalism. It was in favor of a progressive income tax, okay? This is the radical idea that we're promoting here, but it can solve a lot of our problems. Another solution that's come up by people in the progressive movement we haven't been able to get through is the idea of a state bank. Instead of taking our tax revenues and giving them to private banks so that they can make money off of it, if we had a state bank, the state bank could be funding public programs, and that could be earning more money for the people. This is one of the ways we're going to address the pension system in Illinois. Corporate media has been very successful at trying to pit worker against worker. Instead of fixing the tax system, the inequitable tax system that we have in Illinois, they're trying to convince private sector workers that the public sector workers have it too good so that they need to make sacrifices. Well, that's ridiculous. Instead of looking at it that way, how about let's fight to elevate private sector workers' pensions, not lower the ones of public sector workers. And we can do that. That's the way we need to approach this. We need to approach this with solidarity and fighting to elevate the standards of the people, not lower them, not attacking each other. Education. We have a solution. I'm going to be the only candidate in this race, this is another quote-unquote radical position, to fight to make Illinois the first state in many years so that will provide higher education for its residents free of tuition. Now, some of you might be thinking, what? Is he crazy? You know, we have the budget problem right now. No. If we solve the unfair tax system in this state, if we implement a state bank like North Dakota has, the only state in the United States that's not having a deficit problem right now, we can afford to do it, and we must afford to do it. Making higher education freely available to Illinois residents will be one of the most effective economic stimulus programs you can have, because you're not only going to be drawing off supply off the labor market, you're going to be creating jobs more directly, you're going to be saving tens of thousands of dollars to both students and parents alike, increasing their disposable income so that they will be able to spend it on more things. That's your economic stimulus. And this so-called radical idea, I was just speaking to a fellow here tonight, Uruguay has free public education, higher education for its citizens. Many nations in Europe have it. Argentina has had it. Brazil has had it. If developing countries can provide free higher education for their academically qualified students, why can't we do it here in Illinois? We need to do it here in Illinois. It's been proven time and time again, investing in education is the best investment government can make. The original GI Bill after World War II, they did a study on it. For every dollar they spent in educating that generation, they ended up getting about $7 back. It is the best thing we can be doing for our economy, investing in people. That's going to be another theme of the Whitney campaign and the Green Party campaign in 2010. Similarly, with every other things that I'm going to be fighting for in 2010, I'm going to be fighting for your agenda, the people's agenda. The ideas that are already supported by the majority. You know, the income tax for property tax swap, as it's sometimes called, that I'm running on, that's already supported by the majority of Illinoisans, but it can't get through. Single-payer health care is already supported by the majority of American people, the majority of physicians, as was pointed out, but it can't get through these institutional barriers. We're going to be fighting for that. Opposition to the war. The majority of the American people are sick and tired of committing our troops to these follies to make more privateers rich over in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're going to be making that an issue even in the gubernatorial campaign. If I'm elected governor, there will not be one more Illinois National Guardsman being sent over to fight in those wars. These are the ideas of the majority, that we already have the good public policy ideas. We already know what the answers are. But we have to be able to break through these institutional barriers. That is why it is so critically important that you not simply support Rich Whitney for governor, but that you get involved. One of the strengths of the Green Party is that it is an activist party. We are trying to take seriously this idea of government of, by, and for the people.